Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're doing a double feature review here because we're taking a look at the two most recent releases out in PLAMAX's Guilty Princess line here from Max Factory. Here we've got the latest two. It is the Underwear Body Girl Ran and the Underwear Body Girl Jelly. So these two are going to be very similar, and they're kind of meant to be as kind of a set anyway. A lot of the promotional images and everything that you'll see here on the box, for example, shows the two of them together. So obviously with this line in general, a lot of the kits are all kind of, the parts are interchangeable and everything as well. The weapons and all that, they're all going to be kind of pretty standard. These ones, just the difference is that they're in underwear. They're in lingerie, but they also have some other weapons and stuff included. So we'll take a look at all that for both of these kits in today's review. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So we'll start off here with Underwear Body Girl Ran first, as this is GP04. The other one is 05. So going in numerical order, we'll start with this. But as always, guys, there will be time codes down below. You can skip around if you're more interested in particular with one than the other. But here we have the box art for the front, and you can see some of the accessories and weapons. Obviously, they're going to be included there on the ends of the box. Just have a zoomed version of the illustration there, some of the logos and everything here on this side. This, I believe, is to scale this photograph of the built and modeled kit here. As I've said before, a lot of times on the PLAMAX boxes, they don't say it or they don't indicate it anywhere as far as I know, but like some of the images will be in 1:1 size. So here's another image there of the kit, all painted up and everything, posed there on the other side of the box with that chain weight at the ankles. And on the back side, we got some more images of the kit here. So there it is in a few different poses here with the jelly as well, the two of them posed together. And then again, kind of showing the compatibility with the regular the other like fully clothed versions of the Guilty Princess model kits in the line there, and a look at some of the different accessories and option parts that we have. So here you can kind of see everything. Has a couple of weapons, the stand, option parts, and then some waterside decals and all that good stuff. Popping open the box, we've got a drawer of stuff here, and underneath all that, just want to first take a look here at the instruction manual. And real quick, while we're here, let's just take a look at the waterside decals. It's just some decals for the eyes there. As you can see, we also have like the eyebrows and the blushing cheeks included on a couple of those for our watersides. The instruction manual is just going to feature the same box art there on the front, logo on the back, and as usual for the PLAMAX kits, the instruction manual is entirely all in color. So aside from these first couple pages here where we have a bunch of photographs like what we saw on the outside of the box, once we get into the next page, which is the parts list, interestingly, the parts list is not in color here, but the rest of the actual construction here, as you can see, is all in color, which is nice. Just makes it very easy. So these kits go together pretty quickly and pretty effortlessly, as it's all very clear here. It's all in color. Once you get to the back, it's just how to put the base together, how to attach to like the weapons parts there, and then another photograph at the very end, and that's about it for the instruction manual. All right, some other stuff that we've got packaged here is our hand parts. So we've got open expressive hands, peace sign hands, holding hands, and closed fists, it looks like there. We've also got our chain and connector parts there for the chain for the weapon, which is cool. It's actually a metal chain there, that's pretty nice. And then our face option parts, we've got a full set of unprinted ones there. So if you want to put the decals on yourself or repaint them into a different skin tone or something like that, you can use those, or you can use the pre-printed ones, of which we've got a few different face options, 4 to be precise for those. Those all look really nice. Getting into the runners then, here we've got our base parts, which are here in just plain clear, as you can see. Runners A and B are a couple of small little runners here in a molded gold. Runners C and D, a couple of little bit larger runners here of just some joint parts, looks like mostly there in skin tone. Runner E here, a much larger full runner of more skin tone color parts there. As you can see, some parts for the body, like the legs, and it looks like we're gonna have molded parts for folded legs, which looks really nice. So that'll be something interesting we'll take a look at. Runner F and G, another couple of smaller runners here. Runner F in a dark blue for a couple of hair parts. Runner G, the part here in a lighter blue, sort of metallic kind of light blue color here for the pants. Runner H, we've got 2 of these. One is in a kind of gloss metallic injected white, kind of a pearl white kind of color, I guess would be the right word to call that. And then we also have another version just plain skin tone here for some leg parts, so you'll have an option whether you want to have those like with white leggings or just skin tone. Runner I here then, a few more parts in that pearl white. Runners J and K here. Runner J is in a high gloss black there for the shoes. Runner K is in a kind of satin finish black, but a kind of similar color, not quite as dark anyway, there for the kind of ball and chain parts. We've got runner L here, which is a clear adapter piece there for the stand. Then we've got runners RA, RB, RC, RD, and RE, which are all kind of going to be, I guess, special runners here. Runner RA is in that dark blue for the hair parts. Runner RB, a skin tone part there for the chest. RC, some more parts there for the bra parts, it looks like, for around the chest as well. RD is a couple more hair parts here in dark blue, and RE, like the ball and chain parts, is in like a kind of matte finish, super dark bluish gray black color here, basically for the parts for the sword, essentially, and that's it. Now, as for underwear, body girl jelly here, as you can see, the box and everything on the outside of the box is going to be pretty similar. We have this nice illustration here on the front. On the sides of the box, a couple of full-size images there, but with the action pose on the one side and non-action pose kind of here on the other. On the ends of the box, the same thing there. This is, as I said before, GP05 in the Guilty Princess line. And on the back of the box, more photos showing some different poses. There's those crossed legs. As I said, we'll take a look at those. So you have separate parts for that. There's the two kits together. And again, talking about the compatibility with the other kits in the line. A look at all of our parts and accessories here for this. Waterside decals, option parts, and a couple of detail images here. So let's go ahead and pop the box. With this one as well, gonna be a kind of drawer style inner box here, which I don't particularly like, I'll say. There's nothing really, not any particular reason to not like this box style, but I don't know, it's not as comfortable as like the Bandai style box. Here's a look at those waterside decals for this kit. Again, it's just 6 different options there for eye decals, including the eyebrows and blushing cheeks there on a couple of them. For the instruction manual here, once again, we've got the artwork on the front. On the inside cover here, a bunch more photographs like what we saw on the outside of the box, showing kind of all around the kit in different poses and a little bit. There's some text information here. It's all in Japanese, information about some of the different option parts and the weapons and everything here. So there is some text included. We've got our parts list there, not in color. And then a couple pages later, after just kind of some general tips on just like how to build there. Then we get into the construction, where once again with this one, the construction is all in color here for this. Skipping ahead to the end, once again we have a picture of the two kits together, and that's about it here for the instruction manual. For these separated parts here, once again we've got the same option hands for this, open expressive hands, peace sign hands, holding hands, and closed fists. And again, for the faces, we've got one set of unprinted faces, and then our set of 4 printed faces here, smiling, a kind of more serious face there, a kind of silly cute face, and a more expressive face there with the mouth open. Again, the printing, the painting of like the colors and everything on these look really nice. We do also have the same chain here like we saw, the chain part and the connectors, so you will need like some pliers or something just to close those connector pieces here on the kit. But getting into the runners, we have the same 2 runners here of base parts as we saw before in clear. And the first handful of runners are all going to be the same here, so we've got runners A and B, once again they're in molded gold. Runners C and D here for some skin tone joint parts there. Runner E for the larger runner there of a bunch more skin tone parts. Runners F and G here, F being our hair parts in kind of light brown. Runner G being in a metallic pink here for the underwear parts for this kit. Runner H, once again, we have in skin tone and in pearl white. Runner I, a few more parts here in pearl white, again for the legs. Runners J and K. Runner K in this case exactly the same here, that kind of like satin black essentially. Runner J, however, instead of a high gloss black, is in a high gloss pink here for the shoes. Runner L for that same adapter piece there for the stand in clear. And then with the RAN kit, we had RA, RB, RC, etc. I'm now realizing that the R was for RAN. In this case, we have JA, JB, JC, JD, JE, and JF. The J in this case being part specific for the jelly version, and the other ones were specific for the RAN version. So the specific parts here for this kit here are JA, I should say, is our hair parts here in that light brown. JB for the chest part, which I would have thought would have been the same, but I guess that might be slightly different. We'll take a look at how those compare in a moment. JC, the parts for the bra there in that metallic pink. JD, a couple more little hair parts there in light brown. JE is some parts here. So we have another version of the chain, which is a fixed version of the chain there, and the kind of spiked version that's for the weapon here for this. And then JF, last but not least, is a couple of more little adapter parts. I think this is going to be for the effect of when you're kind of swinging that weapon around, you can use this as like an effect stand for that. So, all right, let's check out the kits. Alright guys, so here are the two kits all built up. We'll kind of take a look at them individually and then we'll take a look at them together, of course, because there's obviously interchangeability between all the different parts and everything, and they're kind of meant to be sort of as a set even though they are sold separately. Ran and Jelly here, both really cool, both very similar builds of course, and similar to past Guilty Princess kits. If you've built any of those, obviously the styling is a little bit different, much less in the way of like the clothing parts on the exterior, but the build itself, you know, is pretty familiar. If you've built any kind of similar kits like this, you should have a pretty good idea of what to expect. But as always, the quality is good. A lot of really nice detail on there. If you take a closer look at some of the areas where you have some of that really nice fine detail in there. And otherwise, just some nice good quality kits here with some pretty cool accessories. So let's go ahead and get into those. So we'll start off taking a look at the accessories, which are the same in both kits. So both of these kits are going to have the same stand. For example, here, this is the same stand that's been included with all the Guilty Princess releases so far. You have two of the short piece, two of this long piece that you can use for the stand, but this is kind of just a standard setup, just to use one long, one short one. I feel like that usually works pretty well. You have a couple of points of articulation up here to the top as well, and you can rotate that, so the stand does work quite nice. For the legs in both kits, you have an optional cross leg kind of accessory here where it's just kind of molded together. You will have some seam lines in the legs you kind of need to get out, but this is kind of interesting just how it's kind of similar to the Sosai Shoujo Teien kits where you have optional parts for when you want to do like a sitting pose. It's the same like that, just in a cross-legged pose, so that's kind of nice. Then we do also just have regular just skin tone, just full skin tone legs compared to what both of the kits have on there, which is just the like knee-high stockings on there, which you have some nice detail up around the top. Around here at the bottom, the shoes here for Ran are in a gloss black, whereas the shoes for Jelly are in that high gloss, nice pink color there. And for the feet, we do have another option part here. Instead of just the regular foot with the toe that will bend up and down, you have this foot with just like the toes kind of curled down like that. So just if you wanted to do any particular pose where you wanted the foot posed like that, you can't obviously really stand like that. You're going to want to use these, but if you have another pose in mind with where you just want just the toes curled, kind of nice to have that option in there as well. With each of the kits, we've got a number of these optional neck connection pieces here, which will allow you to put different heads onto these kits, like from Figma or something like that, for example. Then for our hand option parts, we've got these peace sign hands, open expressive hands, accessory holding hands here, which is just a 3mm hole size in there, which should work for kind of most accessory stuff, and then just closed fists. And now we can get into what's different about the accessories between the two kits here. So Ren first, we've got her different face options here, of course. Taking a look at the first couple of these, really nice painting, nice colors on there. Even on like the closed eyes face, you have some nice variation kind of in the colors there. Hopefully you guys can see that there in the eyes. And then our third and fourth face option parts here, again, really nice painting, really nice coloring on there. You can even see on this face, it's even got like a little bit of blush there on the cheeks. So for some really nice looking face option parts here. And then we've got her weapons parts. So the first one is just going to be this long sword. You can't actually attach this onto anywhere on the kit, as obviously there's not going to be any real like hard points, except for maybe, unless you want to count like the ones which are here on the back. You can see there's one there on her back and then one on the lower back there where the tail is plugged into, but it's not really any good place to store this, so you can just hold on to the handle right there. The sword does actually just pull out of here like that. Everything's in this kind of dark metallic black, kind of gunmetal color there. So that works pretty nicely. And then we've got this ball and chain accessory. Now this is just going to attach onto the ankle, so you're going to have to actually pull this apart and then put that together back around on the ankle. Alternatively, I think it might be just as easy to just take off the foot, put that on there, and then put the foot back on, and that's going to be connected on there like that. And the chain goes to the ball here. Now the chain is about 25 centimeters in length, so it's quite long. You could certainly cut that down to a shorter length if you want. And then we do have a hard point here on the ball. If you wanted to have it look like this is swinging through the air, you could attach that up onto a base connection piece or something, but the chain is still going to be hanging loose. So if you wanted the chain to actually be posed, what you could do is just get a thin piece of like gardening wire or something like that, and then you'll just string it through the chain. Now obviously that'll kind of break the illusion of it just only being a chain, because it'll have a wire running through it, but then you'll be able to pose the chain in a pose that, you know, looks natural if you wanted to have it like swinging through the air or something like that. On that note, let's take a look over here at Jelly's accessories, because we do have an optional part here which does kind of address that concern which I was just mentioning here. So we have the same connection piece for around the ankle and the same chain included, but the ball is a little different just because we have this extra piece that goes in the middle of that, which gives you these spikes around the sides, which does look pretty cool. We do also have this piece here which she's meant to use, which is just a handle, so it's meant to be held in the hand rather than connected onto the ankle as just a handheld weapon. We do also have this fixed pose piece here for the chain, which is just in this kind of fixed swing pose here. So here's the handle. On the other end, you're just going to pop the chain out of that, the actual chain, pop this fixed chain in there, and it's just attached onto the end. We also have this additional extra stand which you can use for this. So this will plug through the end of the stand here, and it is kind of tight. All the connections are pretty tight on this kit, so I would maybe recommend sanding that down if you want to just make sure that nothing's going to break or anything on you, just to make sure. But that is kind of tight in there, but that's on there like that, so that it'll just help to kind of hold the pose of this, which is kind of nice. Now, aside from the weapons, we do also of course have her face options, which again look really nice because these are really nice and brightly colored. They're just compared to Ran's. She has a lot more colorful eyes, which is kind of nice. And our third and fourth face options here, again for some nice expressive face options, which should make for some nice posing here with this. Now that's all their differences in their accessories. As for the differences, and just to talk a little bit more kind of just about the kits themselves here, most of the body, the arms, the legs, the stomach section, the abdomen section, even the shoes are the same. They're just going to be in different colors. The top of the torso section there, that's going to be a little bit different here, as you can see between the two, but as I was just mentioning before, they are really nicely detailed there, so a lot of great detail on the clothing parts. What little clothing parts that we do have for these kits, they are nicely detailed there, so that looks pretty nice. And then obviously the hair part's going to be different too. They both have the kind of animal ears, with Jelly's just kind of being these like folded down dog ears kind of things, but those are also kind of articulated here. You can kind of change the angle of those a little bit. As you can see, both kits also have the hard points around on the head, which are capped off by these little gold pieces, but you could remove those if you wanted to add some other accessories or something like that onto the head. They also have articulation in the hair at the back. In Ran's case, you can see these long bits of hair are movable, and just be really careful because there's a lot of like very thin pieces here, of course, so just want to be a little bit cautious with those. The tail can also move up and down and be rotated side to side, and that is again just going to be the same on both kits, so that can move up and down, side to side. The back of the hairs also has two sections which can move up and down for just some kind of added posability depending on the pose that you want to do with those. Other than that, the articulation on these is going to be pretty standard. If you guys have built any of the Guilty Princess kits or 30 Man Sisters kits or anything from Kotobukiya, the articulation is all going to be pretty nice for these. Some of the different Mecha Musume lines, for example, I guess don't have an articulation point between the top and bottom half of the torso. These do, so that does give you a little bit more articulation there in the like core of the body. But obviously with these kits in particular, they're going to be pretty minimal, as that's kind of the whole thing, is that they're in their underwear body, so we don't like have a lot of like external accessories or even like kind of clothing parts, or like with the Megami Device kits, for example, those kits have like a lot of extra parts kind of all around the kits. Without having all that, we do have a fair amount of accessories in here, so I am glad that we did get a good amount of accessories, because if it was like any more bare bones than this, I would feel like it's very, very minimal, but I feel like they did give a good amount of accessories, and it's nice that we got similar but a little bit different accessories between the two kits, and everything's interchangeable as well. I should mention that the faces are also interchangeable. The weapons, of course, I mean, because everything's just either handheld or just the ball and chain just kind of can connect onto the ankle. Obviously, that's going to be interchangeable as well. And you can use any of that stuff with other kits from other different manufacturers as well. Anything from the Guilty Princess line obviously is going to be compatible, and then I mean, you could use, if you didn't want to use the sword, for example, with this kit, you could give it to one of your other Frame Arms Girl kits or whatever. So pretty cool additions to the line, and I have really enjoyed the Guilty Princess line in general, just because it has been kind of doing its own thing. So you have like the different Mecha Musume kits that are made by both Bandai and Kotobukiya, and then other lines from China like Nuke Matrix and MS General, for example. But as far as the Guilty Princess line kind of setting itself apart with like the maid theme for the previous releases, with these releases, obviously
the theme being just like the underwear body. It's something different that we're just not really seeing from other producers. So it's cool that we have, you know, a lot of different producers these days making this type of kit. And it's nice to see that they're not just kind of like all kind of generally the same, that there's a lot of different varieties for, you know, depending on exactly what you're looking for. I just kind of tend to enjoy them all. I like all different kinds of kits like this, so I certainly enjoy the variety. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. Are these kits, you know, something that you're particularly interested in, or maybe you're, you know, sort of interested in the Mecha Musume kits, but these are a little much for you? I can also understand that some people might not really be into these particular kits, kind of for obvious reasons, and I understand. But you know, if you are a fan or not, let me know down in the comment section below what you think of these. And as always, if you want to check the kits out for yourself, or any of the many other previously mentioned Mecha Musume kits available in different lines and everything, you can check all that out at USA Gundam Store. The link is down in the video description below. Thank you guys all so much for checking out the video here today. Like if you feel so inclined, subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. I really appreciate all your guys' support. Until next time, have a great day, guys. I'll see y'all later. Bye bye.